Communities such as the African Canadian, Chinese, Southeast Asian, and the Tamil communities, along with organizations such as the Canadian Council on Refugees.
There are differences among faith groups when it comes to the refugee issue. Some groups emphasize, the need to provide a home, financial support, community, but these people do not engage in any kind of political advocacy, whereas there are other faith groups who emphasize the need to change public policy and to ensure that Canada internationally advocates the upholding of human rights, etc. I think it's important that we have an integrated approach. Both need to happen.
Clearly, if this man is deported in the next little while, this man's life will come to an end, which is the reason that many of you have come here to a place of sanctuary, most of all for your children, so that they have a future, and that future is called Canada.
Right now we're preparing a statement on the proposed changes to the Immigration Act because we've seen how it works from the ground up. A lot of people see how it works from the top or from the outside. And that's the perspective we bring, and that's what we try to do.
I present to you one of the board members of the Interchurch Committee for Refugees, Anne Bulger.
Tonight, I think most of us are gathered here to speak up for someone who's over there that can't speak up for himself. And I just am bringing before you some concerns that the Interchurch Committee for Refugees has concerning not only Mr. Suresh's case, but basically some problems with the Canadian immigration system.
Suddenly, it's like a dawn of a new era, new sense of fulfillment. And the feeling is, my goodness, then I'm not alone, and our people are not alone, and that join the club. It's all holding hands together.
For Canada's faithful, the commitment to assist the newcomer has meant a new role as advocates who challenge the government and the Canadian voters to keep our system open to people who need to come here. Across the country, in every city, big and small, members of faith groups gather to share their experiences, their impressions, their strategies.
Some people were working with refugees, but they were working in their own place, and they did not know each other. So with the table de concertation, we begin to know each other, and we joined our efforts, and we can build something, a real umbrella for refugees.
Historically, the faith groups have been absolutely central in the Canadian response to newcomers, and they continue to be very strong within the various networks. We work to some extent to try to find out how we can express the fact that the response is a faith response, but it's for different people expressed in different ways.
If the images of refugees, for example, are very negative, if there's sort of doomsaying happening about being invaded by hordes of people that are not like us, well, we have a forum in the churches where we can combat that, and we can speak against it, and we can do some education.
Clearly, there are members of the Jewish community of Montreal who cooperate closely with the religious leaders of the Catholic and Protestant faiths and other religious groups in working towards making Canada a country that continues to be open.
Many Catholics are now beginning to understand that they are in fact a minority, that they no longer control the main social institutions that define Quebec society. This has been very hard, this has been very painful, this shift from a self-understanding as a majority to a minority. But in that process, I think Catholics are are discovering that as a minority you can do a lot to change society, and that you cannot retreat.
We need to work together in order to make sure that we have a stronger voice when we speak, and we should speak with refugees, not on behalf of. So we need the sort of coalitions, if you want, the groupings of organizations and individuals who can make a difference. All of these venues mean that we have the ear and the perspective of government, as well as our own perspective, which we, of course, attempt to share and to influence policy as it's being made.